I'm not one of these guys who, loved the internet until I found out there was pornography on it. Now I am on the internet a lot. A lot. I would say out of the 22 hours that I am awake during the day, during any given day, I am on the internet about 11 hours. I don't sleep much. Anyway, you get the point.
Welcome to WYCD Wicked, that stands for What You Can Do. How are you doing? Scott Ward, good to see you, man. I am recording bits that I intend to use later when I edit them into slightly more coherent bits. But I'm just taking things a little bit easy as I work on a larger project in the background. Which means as I go on for the next, week or so, maybe a couple of weeks, much less organized live show. But that said, it also leaves us more room for goofing around, which is always fun. How are you doing? I hope well. Oh, Pinkerbell, good to see you. Jess Rush, hello. I made it on time for the one time. 150 million big ones. I don't follow that, but I do. I am glad to see. Man, oh, wait a minute. Scott Ward, when I type hello into my phone, predictive text offers WYCD. I love it. I love it. Now that is branding gone right. Well, tell you what. Let's start this off with a piece of good news. Did you all hear that Rudy Giuliani lost in court? That's right. You remember when in part of his little coup attempt, he tried his darndest to get a couple of election workers killed? Remember that? Well, because we have only pseudo-justice in the United States, that means that he was sued in civil court. He wasn't he wasn't taken to criminal court for reckless endangerment, which he should have been at a minimum. I would say the man is a terrorist. He's a stochastic terrorist and should be treated as such. But hey, at least he was taken to civil court, and when the judge got to tear into his ass, they didn't hesitate. Because he's just lost big. And I think the theme of 2024 is going to be the Republican Party starves before it dies. They will have no money left. Whoopsie daisy.
The lies Rudy Giuliani told about me and my mommy after the 2020 presidential election have changed our lives. And the past few years has been devastating. The flame that Giuliani lit with those lies and passed to so many others to keep that flame blazing changed every aspect of our lives. Our homes, our family, our work, our sense of safety, our mental health. And we're still working to rebuild. As we move forward and continue to seek justice, our greatest wish is that no one, no election worker or voter or school board member or anyone else ever experiences anything like what we went through.
I want people to understand this. Money will never solve all of my problems. I can never move back into the house that I called home. I will always have to be careful about where I go and who I choose to share my name with. I miss my home, I miss my neighbors, and I miss my name.
Ouch. Painful truth there. Yeah, money can't fix everything that Giuliani took from these people and Trump took from these people. I hope he is sued next, but I'll tell you this, doesn't hurt. We live in a capitalist hellscape. Money is how you get health care and education and a roof over your head and food in your belly. Money and just about no other way. So at least that's taken care of. Assuming Giuliani doesn't act like a standard Republican. Assuming Giuliani actually pays what he now owes. But it's worth reminding everyone that the Republican Party is a criminal organization. It's not difficult to parse out what I mean when I say that. It's pretty literal. In fact, it is a group of criminals. People that sign up to be part of them are signing up to do criminal things. They're signing up to be part of a gang which works together to break the law and get people killed. They are a dangerous criminal organization, and they should be treated as such. If anyone you know is a supporter of the Republican Party, if they call themselves a Republican, I recommend you be frank with them about who the Republican Party is. Old brother of mine, you are supporting criminals. You're supporting a group of evil people. I think you know it. And I think it's pretty alarming that you don't care. I think we're past the point in our society of pretending like there's anything redeeming about the Republican Party. We have been for a very long time. Very long time. We need to slam the Overton window shut. If fingers are in the way, too bad. Do not support Republicans. If you know people that support Republicans, do not let them get away with it without an earful. It's not the same as saying you have this political belief or that. You are saying, if you support Republicans, that you stand by the traitors to our country who tried to overturn an election. Stand by the people who are trying to end Social Security, put grandmas and grandpas out on the street. You stand by the people that are okay with people dying from very treatable diseases and injuries because they keep pushing a system that makes those people die rather than get health care. Just can't afford it. They know what they're doing. They're doing it intentionally. Their voters know what they're doing, and they vote for them anyway. There's not a very complicated what you can do here. With court matters, we tend not to do that. But let me say this. If something hasn't gone to court yet in a matter that you think ought to be, like, for example, the fact that Donald John Trump also endangered Freeman and Moss. He also put their lives in danger. He also owes them. The thing to do is to contact your local news agency, tell them you want it discussed, and contact your representatives and tell them you want them to bring it up. Step one is always, always, always making the thing you want to happen part of the conversation. Good luck. How are you doing tonight? Let's check in. It's been a minute since I've been here. Obsessive Audio, good to see you. Jules T, you as well. Jules T, to be fair, these are scary times. People have guns. Yeah, but most of them are cowardly Republicans, you know? There's not too much to be afraid of with Republicans. I certainly don't think you should... not only do I not think you should get into a screaming match with these people, I don't even think you should get into an argument. There's no argument to be had. What party do you support? The Republican Party. You're a bad person. If you don't know that you're a bad person, you ought to know that you're a bad person. And that's the end of the conversation. What else do they have to say? Irrelevant. They're talking to your back. Tinkerbell. Saying hello to Obsessive Audio. Jeff Taylor, hello. Good to see you as well. Anticorporatist, I want to hear your thing about the CSM at the Capitol Jules. Hopefully it is to do with a Republican congressperson, because that could be huge. That could put the House right now. I don't follow. What is the thing about the CSM at the Capitol? I don't follow. Run that by me again, or explain what CSM is. I'm sorry, man. I saw that you were on earlier. I gave the stream a like, but I only saw it as I was setting up for this. I do apologize for not saying hello. But I did pop in and give you a thumbs up. Oh, mercy me. So we're going to go a little bit longer form here. Because I made the mistake of not timestamping the following contents, at least not the specific part I wanted to talk about. So what I'd like to do with you is show you some folks I've been watching. There is only one small part of their stream that I want to use, but before I can do that, I have to locate it. So I think I've got the right section loaded up here. I think I've got the right section loaded up. And if that is the case, what's going to happen is, for y'all, it'll seem like a mostly regular what you can do. But I'm going to cut it down in the editing bay. That's the plan. You want to see what AC was talking about. Thank you for going out of your way to keep my stream from getting flagged. He's talking about child abuse material. I see. At the Capitol, hopefully it is to do with a. I did not even. I was not even aware of that. I'm sorry to say. There's been a. I take it back. I am vaguely aware of it. I realized that there was a here. All right, I'll just recap it for the audience, so they're not anybody who isn't aware of this is at least in the know as much as I am. There was a vote recently for mandatory reporting laws having to do with child abuse materials, diddlers. And because Republicans are evil, Republicans voted against it. The very same people who have been trying to hate crime trans folks over allegations, wildly unfounded to the point that there is whole sections of the internet devoted to showing how unfounded and bigoted it is. Accusations of child abuse from the trans community simply isn't a thing that happens. As far as I know, the trans community has no different numbers of that than any other community, except of course for the right wingers. The right wingers, of course, have way higher occurrences of diddlers in their ranks because they are a group of cackling evil motherfuckers. Not worthy of your respect, not worthy of basic human dignity. Basically, they are the worst of us. If you want to know what's wrong with America, if you want to know what's wrong with planet Earth, if you want to know what's wrong with the human race, look at our conservatives. That's what's wrong with us. But the point is, they voted against it. I didn't look into it much beyond that knowledge. But maybe I should. Maybe there's something there. Maybe we can once again hit those very few people that vote Republican and think they are not supporting evil with reality. Maybe this will be the thing. I will say this. Every person I've heard of that left the right wing, be it I was a Republican or I was a libertarian or whatever, they have all told stories of how they ignored and ignored and ignored reality until there was that one thing, until there was that one moment that broke through. So I think there's some advantage to constantly bugging these people with a variety, a flavor pack of their own sins. Obsessive audio, slimes against humanity, yeah. Bad lefty, evil bastards, yes. Bad lefty, trans femmes are far more likely to be victims of sex crime. Yeah, that is fully accurate. Oh, Sandy, good to see you. Good to see you. I'm so happy Jake is on. Oh, well, thank you. Jake is on, but I'll tell you what. I'm trying not to be a negative Nancy all the time, because that's actually not helpful. But when I see these things, these cackling wretches of the Republican Party, the flames on the side of my vision creep in. I can't remember that Madeline Kahn quote from Clue. Flames on the side. You know, I get irrationally angry and uselessly angry. I want to stress to you guys, if you get as mad as I do, you're doing something wrong. I have to grow up, and so does everybody else. But as long as we're feeling this way, it does at least feel good to get it out. And I will say I also mean every word of it. These people. They're awful human beings. At the very least, there's some benefit to them knowing that we think they are despicable wretches, that they are the lowest scum there is, the actual lowest scum there is. Even Nazis back in the 40s at least didn't have the previous example of Nazis to look at and know is bad. But now our Nazis have that, and they nonetheless are all for all the evil. Let's move on. I'm going to show you somebody who I do think I do think is good to take in their vibe. This channel's name is, I should probably record. This channel's name is Hannah Reloaded, the one I'm going to show you. This channel is WYCD Wicked. That stands for What You Can Do. But Hannah Reloaded, how do I describe her? You've seen Vosh. You've seen Owen Morgan. She's a streamer. She pulls up clips. She talks about them. Why do I like her? She's clever. A clever person. It goes a long way. And I find her insights incredibly useful. I tend to look at things somewhat sideways myself. She comes from the other side, I guess. Here's Hannah Reloaded talking about conspiracy theories and arriving at a point that I think is very valuable for us to examine. And she's not looking at normal conspiracy theories. She's looking at the structure, the broad strokes. What causes these things? Why do people act this way? Why do they obsess over made-up nonsense? And she's doing it by looking at a conspiracy theory from the early 1900s.
Start off with something a little different. This is a conspiracy from... This article was written in 1905. I have to thank Broha Blast for this, because he actually gave this to me. Broha deals in antique and vintage books, among other things, but books are his speciality, and he came across in his business this McDonald's Farmer's Almanac from 1925. This is a photocopy, of course. He sold the actual one. He actually sold it before he found out what was in it, which is unfortunate. I absolutely would have bought this from him had I seen it first. 30 seconds left on the hype train. This is the 1925 Farmer's Almanac. Father made him photocopy it. Well, thank you, Mr. Blast, then. The article, though, is from 19...
Yeah, I just want to toss in. I have no idea why he was photocopying it. Oh, you know what? I bet he sold it, but before the person picked it up, he looked through it and was like, oh, this is really interesting. That's probably what happened.
1905 by J. McDonald, M.D., from Birmingham, New York. It's public domain. It was written in 1905. Not that it matters anyway. But we are going to read this. This is a flat earthers, like, opinion piece from 1905. And to be clear, McDonald's Farmer's Almanac? This is McDonald. Like, later editions had, like, astrology and stuff. It seems like this Farmer's Almanac he literally put together
Yeah, let's get to
this
it.
weird conspiracy. That train was saved, of course. And Alice Dieform, thanks for 1,200 years ago. This'll be that. Wasn't out early today, love tinfoil. Well, I'm glad you got out early. Hope you have pops and stuff. Cause...
You know, I thought about suing her for taking the idea of naming Tuesday as a special day and doing a stream based around that, except for the fact that that would open me up to liability from the inventor of Taco Tuesday. So hers is Tinfoil Tuesday, just so you know. On Tuesdays, she goes over tinfoil crazies.
Sometimes they'll have them. So, let's take a look at this. This is over 100 years old, this article. The actual thing is from 1925. The article was written in 1905. So this article is over 100 years old, published in something that's almost 100 years old. So fun. Bumble Homestead says, ooh, Fireside Radio show, Hannah would be fun. Let me actually bring up the camera since we're... Look at that. I'm going to read something, so we might as well go full screen. Let's see. Here's the illustration, by the way. It's that same.
We gotta get to this
declared by some, the greatest scientists of this age, that this discovery is true and will stand the test. It will easily rank as the greatest discovery that has ever been made in the annals of history. The following article is not new today. It was printed in the Inglewood Times in 1885. I was then laughed at as visionary, etc. by the public. Did visionary have an old-timey meaning that was different than now, or is he completely mischaracterizing him being mocked? Because it definitely feels like he's being mocked. You're out of bits, but here's a lot of 4 of them for $20 on eBay. Ooh, that's good to know. What years are these from? These are the later ones, so I don't know if they're quite as kooky, but still.
I'm hoping to find one line in particular that I heard her say the first time I gave this a list. If we don't get there soon, I'll just tell you what the line is. But I'd prefer to do it her perspective. I also want to hear the article.
Interesting thing. I claimed immense quantities of gold had settled around the Arctic Circle. Also, the Arctic claiming electricity could be obtained directly from the Earth instead of through steam and machinery. Also, the articles demonstrating that by 1900 the world would be sending messages without wires by the aid of, quote, sympathetic instruments. Also, many other wonderful predictions that have since come to pass. I assume he's trying to insinuate he predicted the radio? But kind of doubting that that's what he actually predicted. Either way. Pretty funny. He's naming all the things that he thinks he predicted, but he didn't. cool beans. Velma, is that you? It is. Jink?
I was gonna say. So I'll let her reveal what the conspiracy theory this person believes is. But notice how little things change. When this person is starting out, they're rattling, they're gish galloping with a bunch of, even though it's a written article, they're saying a bunch of unverifiable, frankly, claims about things that they predicted. But do you notice how it's after those things happened that they're talking about it? Did you know that I have guessed the lottery numbers correctly? In a little notebook I have here. I don't like to show it to people, but I've guessed them correctly. Every lottery, I'm talking about the traditional Michigan lottery, every lottery for the past 3 years. I'm bored with it now, in fact. So I'm probably not going to do it again. But if you want to see, someday maybe I'll show you. I've written down correctly all the lottery numbers. That's what this guy did with inventions. It sounds like Ben Shapiro writing an article to me. This sounds like the kind of thing he would do. But let's find out what kooky thing that there's no way anybody still believes. What kooky thing does this guy have a conspiracy theory about?
Got one of these too. Woo. I can actually use it. Look, I'm reading a thing. The writer not only believes the Earth to be a disk, but that the moon and all of the planets are similar disks.
It's a flat earther, ladies and gentlemen. And gender nonconforming pals, it's a flat earther.
That's an interesting one I don't see from flat earthers often. Normally, they think that the other planets are just lights or something. This guy believes in flat Earth and flat Moon and flat Mars. That's pretty interesting. Grimm's Bane, thanks for gifting 5 tier 1 subs, 88% to level 4 with 20 seconds. It's so close. Anything could save it. The hat is not red and white.
So, obviously, I enjoy Hannah Reloaded. I think her content is... it's not as easy to do this style of show with. It's not as easy to live clip out. Hence the weird setup today. But it is really easy to listen to. She breaks and talks to the audience all the time. She's charming enough that the flow is smooth, and it's sort of an unbroken stream the entire time she's going. But I have my own show to do. So the point is, people have been dealing with these same conspiracies for a long, long time. How come? Why don't they go away? Why are they so immune to the various ways they're disproven? Well, I'll tell you why. During that stream, link is in the description, by the way, if you want to check out Hannah Reloaded, she said something which floored me, because it just struck me as being so correct. She said, conspiracy theories don't exist to prove a set of facts. You'll notice that she was talking about how some flat earthers believe that the Earth is a disk and other planets are disks. Or at least they did then. Whereas now, these flat earthers of today, these punk kids, they believe that the Earth is flat and the other planets are just lights. Well, if there was a model that told people that the Earth is flat, wouldn't likely shift so much on the subject of what all the other stuff is. So why? Well, the thing she said that floored me was that they don't exist to prove a set of facts. They exist to ignore a set of facts. That's the purpose of conspiracy theory. I know it seems simple. Well, I think the exact phrase she said was conspiracy theories don't exist to supply. Oh, good Lord. Conspiracy theories don't exist to supply information. They exist to deny information the believer doesn't want to accept. Now, I happen to think we have a culture of conspiracy theories now where the believer doesn't even actually believe. They just pick information that they think would be fun to deny, and they try their best to see how long they can keep denying it. And the answer is usually forever, or at least until CPS comes by and says, if you don't get your kid vaccinated against these common things that will kill them, we'll take them away. Idea how any of that works. But the point being, throughout history, we have had people like this. And I find it interesting to view it from that perspective, that they are not trying to prove that the earth is flat. They are trying to deny that the earth is round. A lot of times, you will find that the folks who are in the flat earth crowd, for example, are biblical literalists. That's not your average Christian. That is somebody who takes the Bible as translated from Greek to English literally, as passed from person to person to person down to them, and that they haven't actually fully even read their multi-times translated copy, but instead have been told about it, that they take literally. The words of it literally. Which leads them to believe things like there was no evolution. There is no evolution. And the earth is flat and only 10,000 years old, etc., etc., etc. I think when you come across somebody who believes in conspiracy theories, the way to address them, if you're trying to pull them out, is not to ask them why they believe the nonsense they believe, but rather why they don't want to believe the truth. So you don't say, why do you think the earth is flat? You say, why don't you want to believe that the earth is round? And if they turn it around on you, you say, I'm indifferent. I believe what the facts say. And I'm not bending over backwards trying to change the facts by squinting at them. Ask them why they are uncomfortable believing the truth. And I don't think you're going to change their mind, but I think you will understand them better. Let's see what the Wicked community has to say. PNC Bio, they don't yearn to believe in space lasers, they yearn to droughts. I don't fully follow, but good to see you, my friend. And, oh my word, Environmental Coffee House with a very kind $5 super chat. I'm going to give that a heart. Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah. Well, thank you so much. Thank you. That was very sweet of you, Sandy. And yes, if you'd like to support your old pal Jake, I am on the precipice of trying to turn this into a business. So do please consider donating. We take super chats, and if you go to WYCDnetwork.com, we have a link to my coffee page where you can donate. Tinkerbell, Jake, have you seen her conversations with a dude named Peter? He is involved in that gun church and lots of conspiracy stuff, and she plants seeds to bring him back to reality. I haven't, but now I'm going to look for that. That sounds fascinating. That's a white whale of mine. I want to convert. I want to bring some people back. I realize I'm furious at the people that still need bringing back. To the point where I don't fully trust myself to talk about it for all that long. But that's what I want. I don't want to cast people out on a melting iceberg. I want to bring people back to reality. We don't even have to agree on what to do from here. I just want to agree on what is real. The Church of the Iron Rod. Anticorporatus, you are one of the most worldly folks. I am impressed. I'm going to look that up. Hannah Reloaded and the Church of the Iron Rod. That sounds like a novel I'd read. Bad Lefty. Jules T., I remember being told your average conspiracy theorist was actually slightly above average intelligence, but had the need to rationalize what they couldn't explain by cruel, cold randomness. Yeah, I think conspiracy theories are, funny enough, a piece of escapism. It's no different than video games or a D&D session with your pals. It's a way to deal with reality, if dealing with reality isn't in the cards. Environmental Coffee House. Oh, I know some hardened conspiracy people. They followed Dane Wingington's chemtrail grift for years. Oh, that frickin' guy. Yeah. It's sad, man. And the thing is, I get how it can start easily. Like, I think it's fun to look up conspiracy stuff. It's just when you allow the play pretend to affect reality and harm other people. Jules T., I'm not worried, but I do sleep with my passport just in case I need to bolt out. I am ashamed. I'm assuming you live in the United States, and I am sorry. Make sure, though. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't. What's shocking is that, Jules T. says, what's shocking is that even the most educated person will fall for these lunatics. Yes, I think it's an emotional. Trevor Borens, one of my coworkers is a flat earth idiot. This is going to be fun, Borens. Let's deal with this. He believes that there is a giant magnet underneath the flat earth that causes gravity. Here's the thing. I think that's interesting. I think the fun stuff they come up with is interesting. It's just that we are literally at a point in history where the more people that believe that, the slower our scientific progress will be. That guy is smart enough to come up with plausible sounding excuses for why things aren't the way they definitely appear to be. I would rather have him working on the next app that's going to make my life 1,000 times easier. Because GPS relies on the knowledge of both Einstein's view of the universe and the fact, not even theory, fact, that the Earth is a globe, or at least three-dimensional. The function. But yes, I hope you talk to them, man. I hope you ask them what I was said earlier. Why don't you want to believe that the Earth is round? Not why do you believe that it's flat? Why don't you want to believe that the Earth is round? The Anticorporatus, my passport card is in my wallet, and I have other things readily at hand. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Bad lefty. The sad thing is there are people getting filthy rich off that need to know a deeper truth. Yeah. I don't I get frustrated with the followers of these people. I get very frustrated with them, but I don't get angry at them. I do get angry at the con artists. I don't even get angry at all con artists. I just don't think you should be conning decent regular folk, but of course, that is who they do. But if you con a rich person, good. Good. Con a bank. Con politicians. I almost like George Santos because he at least stole the credit card numbers of fellow Republicans. You know, in my eyes, that's a redeeming quality right there. I like the occasional crook. I like the occasional bit of scumbaggery, as long as you are Robin Hood-esque in your target picking. Incidentally, if you don't want to give YouTube any money, you can donate to my Ko-fi page. That's Kofi. You can find me by going to WYCDnetwork.com and clicking on the donation link. If you would like to give me money by taking it from YouTube and you not paying any yourself, well, watch one of my videos which plays ads and share the stream. That will certainly help me. Tamara Chance, Jake, it's not a magnet. It's a Brazilian power crystal. You're right. You're right. Of course, a Brazilian power crystal. Bad lefty. Same, Jake, same. Like my hatred for all prosperity gospel creeps. Yes. Kenneth Copeland, I don't believe in hell, but if there isn't one will be made for him specifically. Jess Rush, the magnet keeps us all stuck to the flat earth since we are made of metal. Well, you know, there's iron in our blood. Tinkerbell, like it's a very human thing to look at the world around you and try to make sense of all the chaos, and those scumbags exploit that. Yeah. And just imagine we've built the highway. We've invented cars. We've invented electric cars. We've invented, literally, hovercrafts. Yeah, we call them swamp boats or whatever, but I mean, we have that level of technology. And somebody comes along and says, the highways you can travel along, those aren't real. We have to come up with a whole new way of transportation. Setting aside the fact that you're wasting the time, people who believe this, as the audience said, people who are apparently of slightly above average intelligence, on average, are vulnerable to this stuff. How many engineers have we lost to this crap? I might not have my rocket boots right now because the guy that would have invented them and the gal that would have invented my accompanying jetpack were busy spending their time learning to ignore science. Setting aside my moral outrage, my greed also makes me angry. My desire to have cooler stuff and to live in a more sci-fi world. We are farther from the Jetsons level of technology because a significant chunk of humanity is playing grab ass with the facts of the world. It sucks, man. I don't care for that. We do have some good news. Good news is that Rudy Giuliani just got absolutely blasted. Well, I realized I just made it seem like he was drinking in court. He probably was drinking in court. I take that back. I take back my taking back. I'm assuming he was drunk in court. I was going to do some David Felt, but all right. Let me just say the other good. The other good news is people are starting to wake. We have allies now. Did you know that? People who just want the world to work for personal reasons have become the allies of lefties. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let me recap this for the VOD crowd. By the way, hi there. Lefties have allies now. That's what me and the Wicked Senate are talking about. We're not alone. And when I say we have allies, I mean we have people who are not lefties working hard to get leftist policy pushed. Why is that? Why could that be? Well, let's have a look. Have a gander. Because it's actually fairly predictable when you pause and think about it. We've just been dodging tragedies every single day for several years. So we haven't had time to think. This is from A More Perfect Union on Twitter. Breaking. Norway's United Federation of Trade Unions says it will start blocking Teslas bound for Sweden unless Musk signs a collective agreement with the Swedish Industrial Workers Union. They will join workers in Denmark who have taken Sweden's Tesla strike international. And oh, hey, by the way, Sean Fain, leader at the UAW, he's come out and said that the UAW supports a ceasefire in Gaza. Why are these business entities, these organizations of workers, taking up these issues and insisting that other countries have similar fair treatment and so on and so forth? Why are they going international? Because it's good for business. Because it's good for their workers. Because a sane world is a profitable world. I'm not even saying that Sean Fain doesn't have a heart and doesn't care about these issues. But why does the rest of the UAW go along with it? I just found out recently that I'm a year younger than I thought I was because I don't do math so hot and I don't think about it all that often. But nonetheless, despite being 1 year more ignorant than I realized, I have been on this planet for eyeball in 40 years, and for the entirety of that time, it has been like the country that I live in was under a spell. And because that country has guns pointed at everybody else, the whole world was going along with it. And in that spell, we pretended like conservatives were good for anything at all. But they're a bunch of howling madmen. When COVID came out, I was certain that conservatives would be on the wrong side of it. In fact, forget predictive ability here. I don't want to be that guy from the first segment. You can just look at what has happened. They are on the wrong side of it. When Charlottesville happened, Trump found a way to be on the side of the Nazis. When there is a war, whatever side is doing the most evil is what the conservatives will support. They support Russia over in Ukraine, the invading force, killing civilians left and right and doing war crimes. They support the IDF, Netanyahu's thugs in Gaza. You know, the genocide that's happening right now. But you can't make all bad decisions and expect to survive. We've burned through our fat as a country. We've burned through our stores. We've burned through the time we have to work with the environment to fix it. Now we're just simply trying to keep it survivable. We will carry the shame for the rest of our lives of having let things get as bad as they did. But if we survive, it will be without the presence of Republicans because we just cannot afford them anymore. And practical people, which includes practical, heartless people, they're joining our side. I'm not even calling all the people who act heartlessly heartless. Some people's job is just to be a cold mother effer. They're joining our side. We are getting support on the left from more and more diverse groups. I don't mean ethnically. I don't mean racially. I mean ideologically. People that don't agree with us on X and Y will side with us on Z because the issues we are dealing with are that important and we are that right. It's very validating. Very validating. It's also very useful. We should be reaching out internationally. I never see two far left countries go to war with each other. You know, I see right-wingers constantly slitting each other's throats. And I see them massacring lefties any chance they can. But you really don't see left-wing countries battle it out. There's a reason for that. That's because left-wing countries are run by decent human beings. That means we have allies all around the world. What you can do, make friends. Make friends everywhere. Expect your friends to be there for you. Expect your friends to talk to their representatives. And oh, by the way, you should take an interest in their country too. You don't have to know everything about it, but make an effort and talk to your representatives on their behalf when your friends ask you to. The left around the world, my humble opinion, just about done putting up with the right-wingers of the world. I don't think much of Reagan's ideology, of Nixon's ideology, of Thatcher's ideology. I don't think much of that is going to survive into 2030. I don't think you're going to see a lot of people claiming that Kissinger is a big inspiration for them in 2034, 2036. I think you're going to hear about how Bernie was, sure. But victory, the victory we've been winning, it's going to be ugly because we chose to fight a war of attrition. The next big issue of our time comes along. The next time we discover that there is a ticking clock and we've got about 30 years to solve a problem, let's remember the mistakes of the past and let's rely on our new friends. Let's work together and build a better planet. And then a better space empire. Look, there's nothing out there as far as we can tell. We don't have to feel bad about being colonists if we're literally just colonizing rock. I'm just saying. Give it some thought. Sci-fi twist at the end. Make friends with lefties around the world and help them when you can. Doesn't it just make you crazy? Frickin' conservatives couldn't wait to invade other countries and take them over. We're literally having to fight wars now to stop them. Netanyahu, Putin. I'm sure if you gave Trump a chance, he would try to invade another country and take it over. But you present them with a chunk of land that nobody's on, no interest. No interest. It's very maddening. I know you can't own land in space according to international law, but you can build a restaurant, a laundromat, a spaceport. I don't know. Get ambitious, America. England, I thought you were going to try a rocket program. What the hell happened? India, you did. You successfully made one. And then crickets. Build me something cool. Obsessive Audio. They said it would be the American century, but all it got us was a coup attempt and NFT trading cards. Yeah. Oh. Called that shot incorrectly. Environmental Coffee House. Oh, sorry, the Doomer came out. I'm not really feeling like that. No, I understand. I understand. Environmental Coffee House. By the way, go check out Environmental Coffee House if you don't already. She does really fun streams, man. They're about the most terrifying, existentially dreadful things in the world, but for some reason they put me in a good place. Bad lefty. Yet, Jake. Yet. Baker Bell. Jake just wants to be a crystal gem. Is that a Steven Universe thing? I watched a couple episodes, but I don't remember much of it because you know why. The anti-corporatist. Can you put a post with the link to that on your page, Sandy? I would love to see that. Yeah. Put a link in here. Here we go. Environmental Coffee House. I was a guest on another little channel, the Eco-Modernist podcast, and they are completely techno and pro-nuclear. So I asked them a lot of questions because they also support Roundup. Yuck. I don't know what Roundup is. Oh, yes, I do. You told me about it. It's that pest control thing or weed control thing. Environmental Coffee House. However, I really want to study what's happening in the nuclear industry because everything under the environmental umbrella and energy is huge. Yeah. And nuclear power, if Dan from the internet's very accurate simulation was to be believed, nuclear power produces so much electricity it would be hard to ignore. It really. My understanding is that nuclear power is abundantly safe. But I just realized I don't. My understanding is not that deep. I would be really curious to hear about it, and let me know what you come up with. Sorry, you were just watching Dunning-Kruger take effect in real time as it dawned on me that I really don't know all that much about it. I've just heard it's safe, but now I can't recall from who. Towan Jack, it was not Greenland. Was it not Greenland that was pissed off with the Danish Prime Minister? I have no idea, but I should. Bad Lefty, basically Agent Orange Jake. Yikes. That does not give me a lot of confidence in their show, but I'll watch you on it nonetheless. Anti-corporatist, wait until you hear about the methane, Jake. Oof. Yeah, we need a different diet for cows. Environmental Coffee House in our Discord, anti-corporatist, in the video channel. There you go. Bad Lefty, nuclear fusion is nearly here, folks. See, then you're laughing at it, but it genuinely might be. Am I wrong? Did we not do a successful test? I thought nuclear fusion is suddenly back in the realm of possibility. Obsessive Audio says to Sandy, nuclear power doesn't produce CO2, so it would make sense from a climate perspective if we could control it and deal properly with the waste. Yeah. Honestly, one of the reasons I think I have such faith in nuclear power is because it sounds evil enough. Like, if you could convince Republicans that it's evil, then you could get them to support it. Truly, this is how these monsters think. If you could convince them that lefties were nervous about nuclear power for some reason, that there was a chance for some real harm to be done, and then tell them it's going in a black neighborhood, you'll get Republicans lined up around the block to vote for it. There's that bitterness coming out, folks. I'm gonna go back to editing. I've actually rounded the curve with this thing. I don't want to talk about how close to done I am because that will change the reality of it. But I do see the end in sight, and I want to have this other effort done. So I'm going back to editing Fight Night. Thank you so much for joining me. Sandy, thank you again for the $5 super chat. That really that helps. It helps quite a bit. I thank you. I will talk to you all later. This has been WYCD Wicked. That stands for What You Can Do. My name's Jake.